depends on you.
Welcome to the Living Well, Living Rich podcast. Today's deep dive is, well, it's a really special one. I want you to just imagine something for a second.
Okay, I'm ready.
Picture a 10-year-old girl, right? She's catching a floating feather in this misty, quiet meadow.
Honestly, on the surface, it sounds exactly like the opening to a gentle bedtime story.
Right. You're practically waiting for, the talking animals to show up.
Yeah, a little cartoon rabbit or so.
Exactly. But what if I told you that this single, quiet image actually contains a really rigorous masterclass in adult anxiety management?
It's kind of hard to believe at first glance.
It is, but we are unpacking a source text today called The Wind's Secret Gift. And while it looks like a beautifully illustrated children's book...
Oh, it really is beautiful.
Yeah, the art is stunning. But as we get into the mechanics of what the author is actually doing, it becomes this incredibly potent exploration of courage, the psychology of letting go, and, well, finding real inner freedom.
I like to call it the ultimate Trojan horse for adult emotional intelligence.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
A Trojan horse.
Because, we tend to equate the value of a psychological lesson with how dense or exhausting the material is.
Right, like if it doesn't hurt to read, it's not working.
Exactly. We assume that if we aren't wrestling with this massive, heavy academic tome, we aren't doing the quote-unquote real work.
But the philosophy driving this book completely reorients how we should think about acquiring life wisdom.
It really does. Because to actually understand what's happening in this meadow with this young girl, we have to look at the architectural foundation built by the author, Dr. Shu Chen Hou, and the publisher, Kokoshungsan Ltd.
And that foundation is what initially hooked me on this whole thing. Because Dr. Hou holds a PhD from the University of Bristol in the UK.
Which is a very serious academic credential.
Very serious. She has that rigorous background. But instead of writing a dense, jargon-filled textbook, she completely pivoted.
Because Kokoshungsan operates on this really specific core belief. Their philosophy is that knowledge should be simple, clear, and meaningful.
Simple, clear, and meaningful. I love that.
Yeah, they operate under the premise that small ideas, if they're understood clearly, can create lasting change.
And that approach isn't just, a slick marketing slogan.
No, not at all.
It's a direct inheritance from this fascinating family heritage. The whole methodology of Kokoshungsan is actually rooted in the Yangsheng herbal pharmacy.
Which is a long-established traditional herbal shop in Taiwan, right?
Yes. Founded by Dr. Hao's parents, Mr. Hu Shusan and Mrs. Peng Kai-feng. And when you understand how an herbal pharmacy functions, the entire structure of the Wind's Secret Gift suddenly makes complete sense.
So let's break that down for the listener, because I think a lot of people might wonder what herbalism has to do with cognitive behavioral concepts.
Right, it seems like a leap. But think about it. When you go into an herbal pharmacy, the practitioner doesn't just hand you a raw whole plant and tell you to eat it.
No, you'd probably get a terrible stomachache.
Exactly. Because raw botanicals are super complex. They contain hundreds of compounds. Some of them are really bitter, some are totally inert, and only a few are the actual active medicinal alkaloids.
So the herbalist's job is to extract and distill those complex plants.
Right, they refine it into a pure, simple essence that the human body can actually absorb and use to heal.
It's the science of pharmacognosy, basically isolating the active ingredient. And Dr. Hao is taking that exact same methodology and applying it to the human mind.
She really is. It's brilliant.
She takes incredibly complex psychological realities, like the human nervous system's response to uncertainty, or the sheer existential terror of losing control.
Which we all feel.
Oh, constantly. But she strips away all that dense academic jargon. She removes the bitter, hard-to-swallow intellectualizing and distills the wisdom down into its active ingredient.
And then she puts that potent remedy into a simple, clear story.
Yes, so that the mind can absorb it without the ego throwing up all its usual defensive walls.
Which brings us to their guiding motto. Knowledge changes destiny. Education changes the world.
It's a powerful motto.
But we aren't talking about memorizing math formulas here. We're talking about emotional education.
So let's actually look at what that emotional distillation looks like in practice. Let's get into the story.
Okay, yeah. So we open the story at dawn. We meet 10-year-old Elara. She's tiptoeing through this tall grass, and the dew is clinging to the blades like tiny jewels.
It's that hushed, pristine moment before the world wakes up.
Yeah, and Dr. Hao gives us this really crucial detail about Elara's state of mind. At 10 years old, she believes every morning holds a secret waiting to be discovered.
I mean, that detail is the baseline for the entire psychological framework of the story.
How so?
Well, Elara is operating in a state of pure receptivity. Think about how vastly different that is from the modern adult experience.
Oh, I mean, night and day.
Most of us wake up and immediately reach for our phones to check emails, Slack messages, the news.
I am 100% guilty of that.
We all are. We wake up with an agenda, a color-coded calendar, and basically a defensive posture against whatever the day is going to throw at us.
We are totally closed off.
Right. But Elara is open. And because she is open, she experiences the inciting incident of our narrative.
A sudden breeze lifts her dark curls, and she hears a voice that sounds like wind chimes in a distant garden.
And she doesn't panic.
No. She just asks who's there.
And the voice introduces itself as Zephyr, the personification of the wind. Zephyr tells her he wishes to share a secret gift with her.
But the pacing here is so interesting.
It really is. Notice that the wind doesn't just hand her an answer on a silver platter.
Right. Zephyr actually asks her to close her eyes, smell the wildflowers and the pine, and feel the silent pulse of the world.
He requires her to ground herself in her physical body first.
It's a grounding exercise. It's literally mindfulness in motion before the intellectual lesson even begins.
It is. And when she is grounded, Zephyr initiates this profound philosophical dialogue with a seemingly simple question.
He asks, "Tell me, child, what does freedom look like?"
And her answer is so revealing. It perfectly mirrors how almost any adult would answer.
She imagines birds soaring above the meadow. She thinks about roaming wherever she wants in the summer without a schedule.
Yeah, she conceptualizes freedom as something entirely physical and circumstantial.
Like changing her location, escaping physical boundaries, basically having zero external constraints.
Which is exactly what we all do. We tie our concept of freedom to external metrics.
Oh, totally. Like if I just get that promotion, then I'll be free from financial stress.
Or if I just move to a new city, I'll be free from this rut I'm in. We constantly project our internal state onto external circumstances.
But Zephyr gently dismantles that.
He does. He tells her that perhaps freedom isn't a place or a shape. It is something you carry within, and you must feel it yourself.
He essentially relocates the locus of control from the outside world entirely to her internal landscape.
Exactly.
Okay, I love the poetry of that. I really do. But I have to be honest here on behalf of the listener and myself, as someone who genuinely likes to have a 5-year plan and who tracks my sleep on my phone.
You like your metrics.
I love my metrics. This concept deeply unsettles me.
How so?
Well, how is a stressed out professional who is listening to this deep dive right now supposed to just, quote unquote, feel an invisible internal freedom?
It's tough.
Human nature demands control. We want metrics. We want a steering wheel we can physically grip.
Yeah.
To be told that freedom is just this invisible feeling you carry inside while the unpredictable wind blows around you, that feels like a recipe for a panic attack.
You are hitting on the exact friction point of the human condition right there.
Yeah.
And it's a concept behavioral economists actually call the illusion of control.
The illusion of control. Okay, tell me about that.
So in the 1970s, psychologist Ellen Langer demonstrated that human beings have a deep-seated need to believe we can influence outcomes that are actually entirely driven by chance.
Like what?
Like rolling dice. We would rather roll the dice ourselves at a craps table because we subconsciously believe our physical action will influence the random outcome.
Oh, wow. Even though statistically it makes zero difference who throws them.
Exactly. We are terrified of the invisible and the unpredictable, so we grip the steering wheel until our knuckles turn white, even if that steering wheel isn't actually connected to the engine.
Because giving up the illusion of control feels like giving up our very survival.
It really does. So the challenge Dr. Hou faces here, as an author and as a distiller of wisdom, is this. How do you teach surrender to an adult brain that is evolutionarily wired for self-preservation?
You can't just hand them a philosophical platitude.
No, you need a bridge.
And the bridge she uses is a physical, tangible object. The lesson requires a visual aid.
Right.
So as Elara lets herself drift on the wind's rhythm, she recalls visceral memories of joy and abandon jumping into a river and letting the current take her, spinning in a garden.
And then this tiny, glimmering feather drifts down into her hand.
Let's talk about that feather.
You have to pay close attention to how the author constructs this metaphor. The feather is described as white as moonlight and delicate as a sigh.
It's so poetic.
It is, but it's also highly functional. It is a physical object, so it satisfies that human need for something tangible. but it is as close to weightless and ethereal as matter can possibly be.
And Zephyr explicitly tells her that the gift isn't the feather itself, but the mechanics of how the feather operates in the world.
Right, because Elara lifts her palm, and the feather just floats above her hand, suspended.
Zephyr points out the crucial mechanism here. He says, "Notice, it floats without strings, without force. It rides unseen currents of the air, trusting them to carry it."
Without strings, without force.
Yeah, that phrase it stopped me in my tracks when I was reading through the source material.
Let's apply that to the anxiety you were just talking about earlier. What is adult anxiety other than the application of immense, exhausting mental force?
We are constantly trying to attach strings to every possible outcome in our lives.
We try to force relationships to work. We force our career trajectories to match our timelines.
We even try to force our own emotional states, like, I have to be happy right now.
Exactly. We exhaust our central nervous systems trying to micromanage the currents of life because we inherently do not trust them.
We act as if the entire sky will literally fall if we stop holding it up.
Yes.
And the story acknowledges how terrifying it is to stop. Elara watches the feather quiver, and she feels a stirring of courage. But the narrative makes a real point to say she is frightened.
She is frightened by the idea of letting go of doubt, of fear, of the need to control the very next step.
Because releasing your grip means acknowledging your vulnerability.
It means accepting that you're not the ultimate architect of every single moment. But Zephyr offers this quiet, radical promise. He says, you need not see every current to trust its guidance.
You don't need the 5-year plan mapped out in high definition to know you won't crash.
No, you don't.
I kept trying to visualize what this actually feels like in the human body, and the best analogy I could come up with is trying to float in the deep end of a swimming pool.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right. Because if you get into the deep end and you suddenly panic about sinking, what is your immediate instinct? You tense up every muscle in your neck and your back.
You start thrashing your arms around.
You kick your legs, trying to forcefully create your own buoyancy. You literally try to physically dominate the water.
And what's the result?
You sink. You completely exhaust yourself and you pull yourself under.
Yeah.
But the moment you stop fighting, the moment you relax your neck, drop your shoulders, and just surrender to the unseen physics of the water rises up and holds you.
You can't see buoyancy.
No. But you have to trust it before it can actually support you.
That is a phenomenal physiological map of what is happening in this story. Because when you are thrashing in the water, your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, is completely hijacked.
You are operating from a place of pure perceived threat.
Right. But by relaxing your neck and dropping your shoulders, you send a biological signal to engage your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state.
You are telling your brain, I'm safe to let the environment support me.
And that biological shift is mirrored perfectly in the climax of the story. Elara exhales slowly, literally, engaging that parasympathetic system. She releases her grip on the feather, and she says to the wind, I trust you.
And the feather drifts upward, dancing in unpredictable patterns, but moving safely.
Yes, and in that simple confession, the text notes that something inside her shifted. She felt lighter, as if her own small anxieties were carried away.
She unclenched.
She dropped the illusion of control and allowed herself to be buoyant.
But this brings up the ultimate test of any philosophical concept, right? Application.
Application in the real world.
Yeah. It's a beautiful moment in a misty meadow. But the mist burns off, the sun climbs higher, and Zephyr eventually drifts away toward the hills. Elara is left alone in the meadow.
The magic wind is gone.
Exactly. So how does this small idea actually hold up against the friction of normal everyday life?
Well, this is where Dr. Hou's approach really proves its worth.
Yeah.
Elara walks home, and she isn't depressed that the wind left. She actually has a spring in her step.
It feels to her like the ground itself is cheering her on.
Right, and she begins to notice hidden gifts everywhere in her daily life. A stranger's kindness that seems to come from nowhere. A sudden turn of luck.
A friend's encouraging word exactly when she needs it most.
This is the cognitive payload of the entire story. We are talking about the reticular activating system in the human brain.
Okay, the reticular activating system. Let's dig into that.
So your brain processes millions of bits of information every single second, but your conscious mind can only handle a tiny fraction of that. Your reticular activating system basically acts as a filter, and it only lets through information that proves what you already believe.
It's the engine behind confirmation bias.
It is. So if you wake up gripping the steering wheel, convinced that the world is this dangerous place that requires your constant micromanagement, Your brain will eagerly point out every single threat.
Every slight, every potential disaster.
Precisely. You program your filter for fear, so you experience a reality of fear.
Wow.
But when Elara released the feather and said, "I trust you," she reprogrammed her filter. She stopped expending all her cognitive energy scanning the horizon for a crash.
Because she finally trusted the unseen currents of support, her brain began to highlight those currents in her daily life.
The stranger's kindness, the sudden luck, those things were likely always happening around her. She just couldn't see them when her fists were clenched.
She opened her hands, and by doing so, she opened her capacity to receive moments of grace.
It's beautifully put.
And the story concludes by noting that long after the summer ended, Elara carried that gift inside her. A quiet strength whispering that, even in the face of doubt, she could always find those unseen currents lifting her toward new adventures.
It really is a remarkable synthesis of ideas. Because the true secret gift isn't that the wind is magic.
No.
The gift is the realization that the world is inherently full of invisible, supportive forces. Things like resilience, community, serendipity.
But those forces can only lift us if we actually allow them to.
If we let go of the exhausting illusion that we have to manufacture our own flight through sheer force of will.
Which brings us right back to the brilliance of the Kokoshungsan methodology.
It really does.
Dr. Hou took the traditional integrity of a Taiwanese herbal pharmacy, the careful, intentional distillation of a healing remedy, and successfully applied it to modern psychological wellness.
She delivered a profound remedy for our hyper-anxious, overscheduled modern lives.
And completely disguised it as a beautiful, simple story about a child learning to trust the wind. Small ideas, understood clearly, creating lasting change.
It bypasses our cynical adult defenses entirely.
It really, really does. You know, if you're listening to this and you felt even just a little bit of that tension release in your own shoulders while we were talking about this.
I know, I did.
Same here. If you want to explore more of this specific distillation of wisdom, we highly recommend you visit kokoshungsan.net.
Highly recommend it.
They have an incredible wealth of learning resources, ebooks, and educational content that beautifully merge this grounded, traditional understanding with modern psychological perspectives.
It is a completely refreshing way to approach personal growth without drowning in, typical self-help jargon.
It really is. So, kokoshungsan.net. But as we close out this deep dive, I think you had one final thought for the listener.
I do. I want to leave you with a different angle to mull over. We spent a lot of time today focusing on Elara's internal landscape, how dropping the feather shifts her own nervous system and her own confirmation bias.
Right.
But think about the social contagion of that act.
Wait, what do you mean by social contagion?
Well, we all know that anxiety is highly contagious.
Yeah.
When a leader in a workplace is gripping the steering wheel in a panic, the whole team feels it.
Oh, absolutely.
When a parent is hyper-managing every outcome, the children internalize that tension. But here's the thing, calm and surrender are also contagious.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that.
So think about your own life right now. What is the specific feather you are currently holding on to with a white-knuckled grip?
Is it a project at work? A specific timeline for your life?
Maybe a relationship you're trying to force. Now ask yourself, what might happen to the people around you? Your family, your colleagues, your friends, if just for today you found the courage to simply open your hand.
That's incredible.
How does your release of the feather give them permission to finally exhale?
What a question to end on. Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. Take a deep breath, open your hand, and we'll see you next time.
Under the moon, a world untold, where dreams are stories spun with gold. A dream catcher's threads are coming undone. We've got a quest before the sun. The starry path, it twists, it bends through cotton clouds and rainbow winds. We find the pieces floating high, high in a land where giggles touch the sky. depends on you. A sleepy dragon guards the way, with riddles fierce and skies of gray. With courage bold we take the chance to tiptoe through his moonlit dance. Oh, the dreams they slip, they soar, musical whispers like waves to shore. The clock is ticking, the thread is thin, but we won't stop, we'll fix the spin. Patch the catcher, weave it tight, hold the dreams that spark this night. Through trials wild, we'll make it true. Dreamland's magic depends on